few years ago, a runner came to me with a problem I see all the time. On paper, their training looked perfect. They were consistent with their running. They were in the gym 3 times per week. But every few months, something would go wrong. Not a major injury, but a tight calf that would come and go, and legs that felt heavy towards the end of the week. This then compounded to easy runs not feeling easy anymore, and workouts feeling harder than they should. Now, if you're a runner, this probably sounds familiar to you. Most people assume the problem is their running program, or even better yet, thinking they need the latest super shoe. But in this case, the real issue wasn't their running at all. It was their strength training and how it was structured around their running. Now, once we fixed that, everything changed. They felt fresher, training became consistent, and those small reoccurring issues disappeared. So in this video, I'll show you the most common strength training mistake I see runners make and how to structure your training so strength work actually improves your performance. First problem runners face is actually pretty simple. Most strength training advice online was never designed for runners. It usually comes from one of two places. The first is bodybuilding program. Now these programs are designed to build muscle. They focus on high volumes of exercises, lots of sets and reps, and they often train the same muscle groups multiple times per week. Let's take Arnie for example. Absolute legend and the greatest to ever do it. But training 6 times per week and blasting a tremendous amount of steroids isn't going to make you a better runner. Now don't get me wrong, that's great if your goal is to build bigger legs, and this is something I did a long time ago. But it's not ideal if your legs already take thousands of impacts per week. The second place strength advice comes from is social media. Now you've probably seen these posts before. This stuff takes the absolute cake, and it's designed to do one thing and one thing only, to get clicks. But unfortunately though, to the average person, this looks like an exercise that can help them with their running and give them that extra edge. But here's the issue. Just because an exercise involves one leg doesn't mean it's automatically helpful for running. Running is a unique movement. It involves elastic energy, tendon stiffness, coordination, and repeated ground contacts. So if your goal is to become a better runner, the gym should support those qualities, not take away. Unfortunately, what often happens is runners combine their running with the strength program that was never designed for them. Slowly, over time, that creates a problem, and that problem is something called residual fatigue. Most runners don't realize when this is happening to them because it doesn't feel like an obvious problem. It's not like you wake up and one day think, oh, my strength training is ruining my running. It's much more subtle than that. It shows up like this. Your legs just never feel properly fresh, your easy pace starts creeping slower, and workouts feel harder than they used to. You might notice your stride feels a bit heavier, or you start getting small tight spots, areas such as your calves, quads, or even an ITB. Nothing major, just enough to be annoying. Now that's the effects of residual fatigue, and it builds when your training isn't structured properly. So when you run, your body works like a spring. Every step you take, you store energy and release it over and over again, thousands of times per run. But that system only works properly when your body isn't run into the ground. If you're fatigued, that spring system stops working efficiently. Instead of bouncing, you start sinking. Think of it like a basketball. A pumped up ball will return back to you much easier than a flat ball. And this leads to more effort for the same pace, and that's when problems start stacking up. The biggest mistake I see is how people structure their week. It usually looks something like this. Run one day, gym the next. Run the next day, gym again. On paper, it looks balanced, but in reality, your legs are being loaded almost every single day. Think about it. You run, your calves, Achilles, hamstrings take the load. The next day you're in the gym, squatting, lunging, completing your calf work, then you go back to running the next day. There ends up being no real break between sessions. Now I take it you're not a robot, so your body needs that recovery time, because the truth is, adaptation doesn't happen while you're training. It happens after, when your body repairs and rebuilds. Now this process is called supercompensation, and when you get it right, that's when you actually become stronger, more resilient, and better as a runner, not during the workout itself. So you may be thinking, how do we fix this? The fix is actually pretty simple. Instead of spreading stress across the whole week, you group it. You make your hard days hard and you make your easy days easy. So instead of separating running and strength, you pair them. On your easy days, such as recovery runs or aerobic work, you pair that with low-level strength work, such as isometrics and concentric-based exercises. And on your hard days, such as tempo and threshold work, you complete more of your compounds and eccentric-based exercises post-run. What this does is give your body real recovery days, actual recovery. And when you do this properly, you'll notice it quickly. Your legs feel fresher, your quality sessions improve, and you stop carrying fatigue all the time. The second issue is just doing too much in the gym. A lot of runners think more equals better. So they spend 60, 75, even 90 minutes lifting, exercise after exercise, just chasing that tired feeling. But here's the truth. Being exhausted after a workout doesn't mean it was effective. A lot of that ends up being what is called junk volume. This ends up being too much work to recover from and not actually specific enough to improve performance. What you want instead is the minimum effective dose. Think of it like seasoning your food. You want just enough to enhance the dish, not so much that it ruins it. Now, what we want to do to ensure we get this right is section our workout into 3 parts. First, we start with what I call a velocity block. This includes exercises like jumps and hops, movements that train your body to be more elastic and reactive, which directly carries over to running economy. We place this at the start of the session because it relies heavily on your nervous system. And to get the most out of it, you need to be fresh. Part 2, or our second block, is our main strength work. These are your key lifts such as split squats, RDLs, and hip thrusters. This is where you build the strength that actually supports your stride and helps you produce more force with every step. Lastly, we move into our resilience block. This targets areas like your calves, hamstrings, and trunk, the tissues that take most of the load when you run. Now, this is what keeps you durable, reduces injury risk, and allows you to stay consistent long term. Now, that's it. You don't need 10 exercises. You just need the right ones that meet you exactly where you're at. So, how often should you be training in the gym? For most runners, 2 sessions per week is perfect. You'll build strength without interfering with your running. Now you can do more, but once you go past that, recovery becomes a limiting factor. And that's where I start to see things go wrong for most people. Strength training can be one of the most powerful tools for improving your running. It can make you more efficient and more resilient, but only if it's structured properly. Because if it's not, it just becomes another source of fatigue. So instead of asking, am I doing enough strength work? Ask, is my strength work actually helping my running this week? Because every session is either helping or getting in the way. If your legs constantly feel heavy or you keep picking up small injuries, there's a good chance your strength training is the reason. And the fix isn't doing more. So I've put together a free strength program for runners based on everything in this video. It's simple, structured, and designed to actually carry over to your running performance. No fluff, no wasted work. You can plug it straight into your week and you'll start noticing a difference within a few sessions. If you want it, it's linked below.